We are following a developing story on the national security front. Speaking at the White House briefing just moments ago, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan saying he plans to brief congressional leaders on a, quote, serious national security threat, but he would not elaborate. News Nation's Joe Khalil.
All right, so now here's my question. What I want to know from everybody watching this is, what do you think the national security threat is? Do you think that it's an actual national security threat, or do you think that it's kind of just one of those quote-unquote things? And what do you think that this is in relation to, or what do you think that they might be trying to take your attention away from so that you're focused on this and not necessarily focused on some developing events or some events that have already taken place? If you're watching on the replay, let me know in the comment section. If you're watching right now, let me know in the live chat.
Is following this. He's live on Capitol Hill. Joe, what more are we learning?
Well, Nicole, I do want to stress this is a breaking and developing situation. So we're just getting information and presenting it to you as it's coming into us. What we can tell you is Mike Turner, the chairman of the Intelligence Committee here in the House, has asked President Biden to declassify information on what he's calling a serious national security threat. And what Mike Turner says is he wants the president to declassify that so that he can share more information with members of Congress and with our allies. Now, we don't know exactly where that threat is coming from. We don't know the nature of it. This is the statement here on your screen that Mike Turner sent.
So now let me ask you guys a question. When it comes to this particular type of situation, what would make the public more scared, more fearful? Putting out a notice like this, there's something imminent that's happening, but we don't know if it's anything happening. Or if they just made an announcement once they have all the details together. Think about that. I want y'all to seriously think about it. What's the better strategy, to put this out? Oh, we don't know what the hell's going on right now. Or we give a nice organized explanation of what's going on when we have more details. Which one do you all think is the better option? And real quick, ladies and gentlemen, shout out to DSB for the $1.99 super chat. I definitely appreciate it. Doubling down on the $1.99 super chat. Make sure y'all double down on the love that you show him. Throw some radiation emojis, some flames, and some ducks in the chat for DSB holding it down as the first stream sponsor. Make sure y'all show him some love.
Out. Today, the House Permanent Select Committee has made available to all members of Congress information concerning a serious national security threat. Now, what I have been told from some...
Shout out to TD Hip Hop Media over there on X. If you're not following on X, make sure you guys go and check out at Base Reality 2 on X. Go make sure you guys check that out, because live streams that go on members only because of the censorship on YouTube stay up on X. And, you know, if you're that cheap that you can't afford 99 cents for a membership, you can watch them on Twitter for free. You know what I'm saying? Save yourself some money. Save me some income and save yourself some money. I guess you're doing us both a favor. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to TD Hip Hop Media. TD says, you gotta love fear mongering. Listen, that fear mongering grift is real. The news has been doing it for a long time. It's time for us to get some of our ducats on the fear-mongering grift. Would you guys agree? If you guys agree, it's time for us to collect our ducats on the fear-mongering grift. Give me a thumbs up. If you guys don't, give me a thumbs down. The media has had a monopoly on the fear-mongering grift for too long. Now any common person can do it by just using my referral link for StreamYards and starting your own fear-monger grift. You know what I'm saying? Breaking news. Breaking news.
Some members of Congress here is that he has opened up what is known as a SCIF. That is a room that is secured. No cell phones are allowed inside. And members of Congress, as I'm talking to you.
Facts. Shout out to Carlton Way. Got to give it to Carlton Way. Black people getting on code is a national threat to them. Oh, that's facts. That's facts. That's big facts. You know what I'm saying? That's big facts. Shout out to TD Hip Hop Media. TD said all the cheap, broke people like me are watching on Twitter. Hey, that's facts. If you're broke and you're cheap, make sure that you go over there and say hi to TD Hip Hop Media at Base Reality 2 on Twitter. All right.
You now in small groups or individually are going into those SCIFs, and they are being made available the information at least that we have. Is it all of the information about this threat? We don't know, because, again, Mike Turner is asking President Biden to declassify more so that more information can be shared with members of Congress. So we're slowly getting some information. Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, was asked about this moments ago at the White House, and here's what he said about this situation.
I reached out earlier this week to the Gang of Eight to offer myself up for a personal briefing to the Gang of Eight. And in fact,
So First and foremost, question for everybody in the comment section: who or what is the Gang of Eight? Second of all, did you notice how he happened to say he offered himself up for this earlier in the week, which means that this has been going on for a while, and for whatever reason, right now is the time that we got to get everybody all scared about it. What exactly do you all think that this could possibly be related to? And real quick, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate you guys watching. We got 42 people watching on YouTube. Shout out to you guys. If you guys haven't smashed that like button, please take a moment, smash that like button. If you guys have not, hit the bell and subscribe to the channel. Please make sure you take a moment, hit the bell and subscribe to the channel. And also, wherever you're watching from, if you have not shared the stream, please take a moment and share the stream. That's a great question. Shout out to William Arendt. Oh, I'm sorry, William Arendt. I apologize. William Arendt says, who is the Gang of Eight? That's a great question. Who's got the answer for that question? Somebody throw the answer to that question in the live chat.
Scheduled a briefing for the 4 House members of the Gang of Eight tomorrow. That's been on the books. So I am a bit surprised that Congressman Turner came out publicly today in advance of a meeting on the books for me to go sit with him alongside our intelligence and defense professionals tomorrow. That's his choice to do that. All I can tell you is that I'm focused on going to see him, sit with him, as well as the other House members of the Gang of Eight tomorrow.
So for those at home here, the Gang of Eight, what he's referencing is just a small group here in Congress. You've got the leaders from both parties in the House and the Senate, and also the top intelligence members in the House and the Senate from both sides of the aisle. That is the small group that he says, Jake Sullivan, that he'd already pre-scheduled meetings with for tomorrow relating to this issue. So again, as we're learning more, we don't know the...
So now here's the question. What changed to make it where it needs to be discussed today, and that currently, right now, it's become a national security issue if he already had a appointment to meet up about it tomorrow? What's changed? What's occurred that's caused this to be a national security issue with urgency right now, where this has to all be discussed and put out into the mainstream media right now? What do you guys think?
Full nature of the threat. I also just moments ago spoke with James Comer, who's the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, about this and about the process to actually get more information. He tells me he has not yet been in that skiff to learn what this situation is, but here's what he did tell us.
But the fact that Mike Turner wants to declassify it would tell me that everybody's going to find out about this sooner or later, or we need to be prepared for it. Okay. So either way, I support what Mike Turner's wanting to do.
So just moments after that, I followed up with, on that second scenario, or we have to be prepared. I said that could be concerning. And he just sort of said, yes, that would be, concerning situation. We don't want to be alarmist about this because we don't know, again, the nature of this national security threat. We've heard from some members who said it's serious, but didn't go beyond that. And I'll just leave you with this, Nicole. Jake Sullivan, just moments after the question we just played, got a question from a reporter asking whether the American people can at least be put to rest, that this is not something they need to be worried about right now. And his response to that question was that is simply an impossible question to answer. So obviously, you've got a lot of concerns here about what this national security situation is. We're going to continue to dig and try to find out anything that we can, as members of Congress here in real time, are also learning about the situation, Nicole.
Absolutely. Yeah. Lots of Americans certainly want answers. Joe, thank you. Thank you.
All right, so there's that. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to watch this news clip from MSNBC. MSNBC says the White House addresses the Intel chair's warning of a national security threat. Now, I want to make sure that people hear me very clearly. This is not me declaring that anything happened, okay? However, shout out to my man KO Kid Fit. I don't know if KO Kid Fit is in here, but I don't know if anybody had any issues this morning, but because of my format and how I do my content, I access Facebook for a lot of my bookmarking, right? Very early this morning, right? I would say maybe like about an hour or two before I did my stream, which would probably be like 7:30. I wasn't able to access Facebook from my computer, from Firefox, from Internet Explorer, and from Chrome. This morning, I wasn't able to access Facebook. Now, I was able to access it from Safari, but I wasn't able to access it from Internet Explorer, Chrome, or Firefox. It was a very short time, and I don't think it might have happened so fast that people didn't even notice it. But I'm curious when they release this, if this has something to do with a cybersecurity threat. And the reason why I say that is because also it's the intel chair who alerted them to this situation. Did anybody else experience that this morning? If you're watching on the replay, timestamp right here and say if you experienced that this morning. Anybody in the live chat, if you guys experienced it, let me know. And also, again, shout out to everybody that's watching. I appreciate you guys being here. If you all haven't smashed the like button yet, please help the channel by smashing the like button. Also, if you haven't hit the bell and subscribe to the channel, please take a moment, hit the bell and subscribe to the channel. And also, please share this stream to your social media. Shout out to DeAndre for being a like enforcer. Please show him some love with some like enforcers in the chat.
Shortly before you came out, Congressman Mike Turner issued a statement saying that President Biden should declassify intelligence related to a, quote, serious national security threat. What can you say about the threat and what the administration plans to do?
So first, I reached out earlier this week to the Gang of Eight to offer myself up for a personal briefing to the Gang of Eight. And in fact, we scheduled a briefing for the 4 House members of the Gang of Eight tomorrow. That's been on the books. So I am a bit surprised that Congressman Turner came out publicly today in advance of a meeting on the books for me to go sit with him alongside our intelligence and defense professionals tomorrow. That's his choice to do that. All I can tell you is that I'm focused on going to see him, sit with him, as well as the other House members of the Gang of Eight tomorrow. And I'm not in a position to say anything further from this podium at this time, other than to make the broad point that this administration has gone further and in more creative, more strategic ways dealt with the declassification of intelligence in the national interest of the United States than any administration in history. So you definitely are not going to find an unwillingness to do that when it's in our national security interest to do so. At the same time, we, of course, have to continue to prioritize and focus very much on the issue of sources and methods. We'll do that. Ultimately, these are decisions for the president to make. But in the meantime, the most important thing is we have the opportunity to sit in a classified setting and have the kind of conversation with the House intelligence leadership that I, in fact, had scheduled before Congressman Turner went out today. Yeah.
But just to be clear, Turner calls this an urgent matter with regard to destabilizing foreign military capability. Are you aware that there is an emerging serious threat here that he's referring to?
Again, I'll just say that I personally reached out to the Gang of Eight.
Here's the question. If they don't know anything or they don't plan on telling anybody anything, why do they even have these to put this out here? We don't know anything. Well, is there anything that you can tell us? We can't tell you anything. We can't tell you anything because for 2 reasons, because we can't tell you anything and because we don't know anything. They have a whole press conference for literally every single answer of any question that they ask in a press conference to be, we can't tell you and that we don't know anything. Have you guys ever noticed that? If you guys have noticed that, give me a thumbs up. If you guys have not noticed that, give me a thumbs down. Why do they even have press conferences if this is all that they can do? Again, what is the point of even letting anybody, like, what is the point of all of this if we're not going to get any information about it? We just got to sit here and stare at this with these people freaking out about nothing or about everything. We don't know because the answer could be anything because nobody knows anything. What's the point of this? You know what I'm saying? Where do you all think that this is possibly coming from? What do you all think that this is possibly coming from?
Really unusual, in fact, for the National Security Advisor to do that. I did that to set up a meeting. The Senate's not here. The 4 House members have agreed to that meeting. This is well before Congressman Turner came out today. We'll have that conversation tomorrow. I'm not going to say anything further.